Am I the asshole for refusing to change my wedding date because my sister announced her pregnancy? I, 30F, have been planning my wedding with my fiancé, Dan, 32M, for over a year now. We've had our date set for 8 months, and everything was going smoothly: venue, dress, caterers, all booked and ready to go. The wedding is planned for late summer, and we've been really excited about it. My fiancé and I have worked hard to make sure we stay within our budget while also creating a day that feels special to both of us. It's been a bit stressful with all the planning, but overall, we're really happy with how things are coming together. That is, until my younger sister, Emma, 28F, announced her pregnancy about 2 months ago. I was thrilled for her. She and her husband, Mark, have been trying for a baby for a while, and I know it's something they've wanted for a long time. It's exciting, and I couldn't wait to become an aunt. When she told me, I was genuinely overjoyed. But that joy didn't last very long, unfortunately. The issue started when Emma casually mentioned that her due date was very close to my wedding date. According to her, she'll be around 35 or 36 weeks pregnant by the time of the wedding. She said this with a bit of hesitation, which I didn't fully understand at first, but I brushed it off because I figured she'd be fine and we'd work around it. She would just be very pregnant, and I imagined she'd take it easy during the event. No big deal, right? Well, a week later, Emma called me again, but this time the conversation was a lot less casual. She flat out asked if I would consider changing my wedding date because it was too close to her due date, and she didn't want the stress of attending a wedding while so far along. She said she might not even be able to come at all if she's feeling too uncomfortable by then and didn't want to risk going into labor around the time of my wedding. She also said that if the wedding is too close to her delivery, she might not be able to enjoy it fully, and it wouldn't be the same experience for her as my sister. I was shocked, to say the least. The idea of changing the wedding date had never even crossed my mind. We've had everything set for months. Changing it would mean losing our deposits on most of the vendors and having to find a new date, a new venue, and honestly, I couldn't even begin to think about how stressful that would be. Not to mention, Dan and I both have work schedules that made this particular date the best option for us, and we had family and friends traveling from out of town. Changing the date would completely throw a wrench in our plans. I tried to explain this to Emma, but she was clearly upset. She kept saying that it wasn't fair for her to have to worry about this while pregnant, and that it would be easier for me to move the date than for her to miss the wedding or attend while extremely uncomfortable. I understood her concerns, but I told her that changing the date just wasn't feasible for us. It would cost us a lot of money, stress, and it wasn't just about her, it was about all the other people involved in the wedding too. Emma didn't take that well. She accused me of being selfish and not caring about her pregnancy or the fact that this was a major life event for her as well. She said I was prioritizing my party over her health and well-being. She even suggested that I didn't care if she missed the wedding, which hurt because, of course, I want my sister there. But I also didn't think it was fair to ask me to change everything just because of her pregnancy. The situation escalated quickly from there. Emma told our parents, who, to my surprise, took her side almost immediately. My mom called me the next day and said that she understood how hard it would be for Emma to attend the wedding at that stage of her pregnancy and that it would be better for the family if I moved the date so Emma could be more comfortable. My dad, who's usually pretty neutral, even chimed in and said that it would be a shame if Emma couldn't come because of the timing. I tried to stay calm and explain to them that changing the date wasn't just about convenience, it would involve significant costs, rescheduling our entire wedding, and putting a lot of stress on me and Dan. But my mom kept pushing, saying things like, "Your sister needs our support right now," and "You'll still get married no matter what, but she might not get to enjoy your day." She even suggested moving the wedding to the following year when Emma would no longer be pregnant and could attend with her newborn. I was completely floored. Moving the wedding to another year? That was ridiculous. It felt like everyone was putting Emma's pregnancy above everything Dan and I had been working on for over a year. I asked my mom if they would be willing to help cover the costs of changing everything. Of course, she said no. She claimed that we could find ways to make it work without too much expense, but that's easy for her to say when she's not the one paying for or organizing the wedding. Dan has been supportive throughout this whole thing, but I can tell it's stressing him out too. He thinks I should stand my ground, but he's also worried that this is going to cause long-term issues with my family. I don't want to ruin my relationship with Emma, but I don't think it's fair to ask us to upend everything we've planned. The worst part is that Emma and I have always been close. We've had our disagreements, like any siblings, but we've never had a conflict this big. She's still not talking to me much, and every time I try to reach out, it feels like she's waiting for me to give in and say I'll move the date. It's like she's putting all the responsibility on me to make things right, even though I feel like I'm the one being reasonable here. I've had other family members reach out, and it's been a mixed bag. Some people think I should change the date to accommodate Emma, while others are telling me to stick to my original plans. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm being asked to choose between my wedding and my relationship with my sister, and it's tearing me apart. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to change my wedding date because my sister announced her pregnancy after I had already set the date. Update. After a lot of back and forth, and some really tough conversations with my family, we finally came to a resolution. I sat down with Emma, my parents, and Dan, and we had an honest, heart-to-heart discussion about everything that had happened. Emma admitted that she had been under a lot of stress with the pregnancy and had overreacted a bit by demanding that I change the wedding date. She said that she felt overwhelmed by the idea of missing out on such an important event in my life because she was pregnant, and she was afraid that if she couldn't fully participate, she'd regret it forever. But she also realized that asking me to change the date was unfair, especially considering how much work we had already put into planning the wedding. I told her how much I wanted her there, but I also needed her to understand that changing the date wasn't realistic. We talked it out, and by the end of the conversation, she apologized for how she'd handled things. She admitted that her hormones and anxiety about the pregnancy had gotten the better of her, and she hadn't considered how much pressure she was putting on me. In the end, Emma said she'll still attend the wedding, but we've agreed that if she's feeling too uncomfortable or if there are any complications, she'll just take it easy or leave early if needed. My parents have also come around and agreed that it wasn't fair to ask us to move everything. They apologized for putting pressure on me, and we've all agreed to focus on making the day as stress-free as possible for everyone. It's been a tough few weeks, but I'm glad we've worked things out. I know things won't be perfect, but at least now I feel like we're all on the same page. Update 2. So, the wedding went ahead as planned, and I'm happy to report that everything went beautifully. Despite all the stress leading up to it, Emma did attend, and while she was quite pregnant, she seemed to enjoy herself. We made sure she had a comfortable spot to rest when needed, and she even danced for a bit, though mostly sat down to chat with family and friends. I was just relieved that we could share the day together without any lingering tension. A week after the wedding, while Dan and I were on our honeymoon, I got a text from my mom saying Emma had gone into labor. I was shocked, but thrilled for her. I knew she was nervous about going into labor early, so I was just relieved that everything seemed to be happening safely and on time. Unfortunately, because we were still out of the country, I missed the actual birth. I felt a little bad about not being there for her, but Emma assured me that it was fine, and she totally understood. She and Mark welcomed a healthy baby girl into the world, and they're both doing great. My parents were there with her, and she was surrounded by love and support. Even though I wasn't physically there for the birth, I've been over the moon about becoming an aunt. Dan and I are still soaking up the last bit of our honeymoon, but I'm counting down the days until we get back home so I can meet my niece. I'm so proud of Emma for how she handled everything, and even though the wedding drama was tough, it feels like we're all in a much better place now. All in all, it's been an intense but wonderful few weeks. I got to marry the love of my life, and now I get to come home to meet my beautiful niece. I guess sometimes things really do work out in the end.